Success is the walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. A very good evening to everyone present here. I, Preeti Selvam, Department of Plant Biology, feel happy to compare this webinar on the long forgotten lifestyle, the nature's way of nurturing. It's my immense pleasure to welcome you all to this wonderful session. We would like to extend a special welcome to our resource person, Dr. K.V. Vasudharani ma'am, BA, MS, Ayurvedic physician and professional consultant. I also welcome our principal, Dr. M.G. Raghunathan sir, Vice Principal, Student Affairs, Shift 1, Dr. LRS Kalanidhi ma'am, Vice Principal, Shift 2, Dr. Gunita Arun Chandok ma'am, respected deans, Head of the department, Dr. M. Gopi sir, and also all the staffs and the students present here. The man who occupies the first place seldom plays the principal part. Now, I request our principal, Dr. M.G. Raghunathan sir, to enlighten a few words about this webinar. Sir, please.
My dear colleagues, just now accidentally I came in. Again, I was caught in. Phones are coming, phone calls are keeping on coming anyway. Beloved Vice Principal Student Affairs, Dr. LRS Kalanidhi, convener of this program, Dr. Gopi, and all my colleagues, and resource person of the day, Dr. K.V. Vasudharani, Ayurvedic physician, and all my dear students. And again, this is the right, every time I used to say that people are choosing the right topic at right time. See, the nature's way of nurturing, actually nature has got its own way of nurturing. If you don't go to a doctor, automatically after 3 days, the fever will subside. This is nature's nurturing. But anyway, the another line is that the long forgotten lifestyle. There is no question of long forgotten. We never forget. We have changed our lifestyle into that only. Very bad lifestyle nowadays. Let us all hope and let us all join hands to today's resource person, Dr. Vasudharani, and let us see what she is going to tell about the long forgotten lifestyle. She should tell us a lifestyle which we should not follow that. Nowadays, we have adapted to a new lifestyle which causes a lot of diseases. And so let us enjoy or let us learn more things, how to follow the latest lifestyle, or to this very dangerous or pandemic world, we have to change our lifestyle again. Let us see, let us enjoy. With these few words, I welcome all my colleagues and all my students. And also on behalf of Guru Nanak College, I heartily welcome Dr. K.V. Vasudharani, Ayurvedic physician, for the day to deliver her lecture. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Teaching is the greatest act of optimism. Now I request our Vice Principal, Student Affairs, Dr. LRS Kalanidhi ma'am, to say a few words about this webinar. Ma'am, please.
Really? Our most respected principal, Dr. M.G. Raghunathan sir, our esteemed resource person of today's program, Dr. K.V. Vasudharani, respected head of the department of plant biology and biotechnology, Dr. Gopi, Dr. Poonam, Dr. Tangavelu, Dr. Gayatri, and the anchor, Ms. Preeti Selvam. Really, it's amazing. As principal says, nature has got its own way of nurturing. Okay, and I strongly endorse his views that we have forgotten our lifestyle, and so it's the right time for us, especially during this pandemic situation. We need to know how to lead a life, a kind of life which will go along with nature. No one can dream of going away from nature because nature has got its own way of treating us if we go against it, right? Through natural disasters or some kind of disasters, it will take its revenge upon the people or anybody who is affecting nature. So it's always better to live along with nature because we are part of nature. Nature and living beings can never be separated. So all because we are supreme beings and we have got a sixth sense, we've got lots of innovations and discovering capabilities, man cannot think of going against nature. If we think of going against nature, nature will have its own way of dealing with us. So as principal says again, really he is speaking to the point, and no one can speak after him. That is how he speaks. Whatever he speaks will be pearls of wisdom. Thank you, sir, for encouraging us to conduct such programs. And the plant biology department is really wonderfully doing lots of programs. And as everybody feels, I too am very eager to listen to Dr. Vasudharani. young and energetic Ayurvedic physician who is very, a person with she's a class of part, I should say. At a very young age, she's got lots of social consciousness. She has been participating in various awareness programs all over the state. And really, Dr. Vasudharini, hats off to you. And may you continue with your noble efforts of spreading this awareness to all possible, to whoever comes across your way. And we will also go a step ahead, to help them all. And now Guru Nanak College has given you a platform to share your knowledge and expertise with us. Really, this program is going to be of great use to us. Thank you, Dr. Gopi, for arranging this program. Thank you, Dr. Poonam, Dr. Tangavelu, Dr. Gayatri, and all behind the success of this program. Thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. Let's all listen. Let's all move on to the next part of the program. Over to Dr. Gopi.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of the fire. I request Dr. M. Gopi sir, Head, Department of Plant Biology and Plant Biotechnology, to deliver the welcome speech. Sir, please.
Yes. Respected our beloved Principal Sir, Vice Principal Madam, Head of the Department, Deans, Academics, Research, Science, Professors. Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Guru Nanak College Management, Principal, and my own department, I welcome you all for this wonderful webinar session by Dr. K. V. Vasudharani by The Long Forgotten Lifestyle, the Nature's Way of Nurturing. So today's topic is very interesting. I hope you will enjoy this session. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, sir. The art of teaching is the art of assisting discovery. I request Dr. Poonam Sethi ma'am, Assistant Professor, Department of Plant Biology, to introduce our resource person. Ma'am, please.
Okay. Thank you, Preeti. Good afternoon to all. I deem it a privilege to introduce the guest of today's virtual webinar, Dr. K.V. Vasudharani. First, I would like to start with a quote by Charka. According to him, life, which is also denoted as Ayu. Ayu is a combination of body, senses, mind, and soul. Ayurveda. Ayurveda is the most sacred science of life, which is beneficial to all the humans in the world. And according to him, physician is one who enters the body of a patient with the lamp of knowledge. Here we have Dr. Vasudharani with us, who is a BAMS graduate with a bird's eye view to explore deeper aspects of Ayurveda, currently working as a part-time consultant at Kottakkal Arya Vaidyasala, Adyar. She is not only consulting outpatients, but she is also well versed with Panchakarma and also performing Utravashti. Her key responsibilities being screening and monitoring students for malnutrition and also a consultant for Jeevani scheme. And she teaches yoga asanas, well versed with most of the Indian languages like English, Tamil, Sanskrit, Telugu, Malayalam, and Kannada. Now, I would like to end by saying, he that takes medicine and neglects diet, I repeat, he that takes medicine and neglects diet wastes the skill of a good physician. So, here we have nature's way of nurturing diseases. Thank you. Welcome, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So before starting the program, I request all the participants to mute your audio and video for the smooth conduct of the event. As well as please pin on Vasudharani ma'am's who is presenting. Actually, there will be two names of Vasudharani, so please pin on the one who is presenting. Now I request Dr. K.V. Vasudharani ma'am to take over the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you all. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Thank you all for giving me a wonderful welcome. Well, all of you spoke about Vaidya. I wouldn't call myself Vaidya yet because I'm just into the field and trying to explore more and more deeper concepts. This one presentation is just an attempt to reintroduce the richness of our culture or our nature to you all. My main purpose of doing this is that respected sir told that we have changed the lifestyle. I would partially accept that we have changed the lifestyle, but there are few things that we can get back to, or rather I would say, which are more beneficial at present time. So in this presentation, I would just take you through the daily regimens that have been mentioned in Ayurveda, the seasonal regimens mentioned in Ayurveda, and the most important thing, easy medicinal plants, or I would call them as gifts that nature has given us, that we have it at home or at the garden. So we have everything around us. In this, what do you say, fast moving world, we don't have the time to notice it, to recognize it, but we are just running. So I again thank all of you for giving me this opportunity. Thanks to the Almighty for giving me such an opportunity. Obviously, my parents and gurus who have made me stand here to present before you. So please let us go on. So in this slide, I've written as universe is equal to man. So how would you say universe and man are equal? So there are two examples given here. In a picture where the universe is inside the man, and the other picture is the man is inside the universe. So man is the microcosm of the universe. So the what we can say is a miniature form of universe, and man is one among the thousands of organisms or lakhs of organisms in the universe. So why do we say that? Both universe and man are made up of Panchabhautikas, what we say as Mahabhutas. So what are the 5 Mahabhutas we see? Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jala and Prithvi. So what are these components in our body? So Akasha, any hollow space in our body where the air can move is Akasha. We have a lot of hollow space in our body. One example is the ear. There's a lot of hollow space. Next, Vayu. Anything that moves, felicitate movements is Vayu. What we say as Prana Vayu only. So that moves inside our body. Respiration is one factor of Vayu. Then Agni. Agni is a very broad concept, but I would put it in a simpler term as any metabolism happening in our body. Agnis are all in different levels. That is a very, very, very huge topic which I am not going to tell you and bore you. So going to the next, Jala or the Aap Mahabhuta. The moisture in our body or any liquids that run in our body is Aap or Jala Mahabhuta. Going to the next is Prithvi. That which forms a shape, holds a shape, that is hard. Our body is made up of skeleton, that is the framework. So our bones, organs are made up of Prithvi. So this is why we say man and universe are almost the same, or they are equal to each other. So when there is a harmony between man and the nature, only we can be healthy. So that is the concept which I am trying to say, but I am trying to present it before you all. So these are the things which are the basic ones. So going to the first one, daily regimen. What do you think as daily regimen, or what? When do we wake up and all? Daily things that you do. I would say, students, please excuse me for this, because waking up early in the morning is not a cup of tea for many of us. I would include myself also, many of us. So when does a day begin? We wish anniversary birthdays at 12 o'clock at night. But is that the time when the day really begins? What is GMT and what is IST? So the Indian Standard Time is 5.5 hours plus 5.5 hours from GMT. And we consider sunrise as the start of the day. So IST being GMT plus 5:30 is justified here. So the rising of sun is the start of the day. We have heard our elders say you have to wake up before the sunrise. So the sunrise depends upon the day, the seasons also. It is not one particular time every day. So waking up before the sunrise is most important. Why? It is a time when your brain, your cells, your senses are at high efficiency. You study at that time. You need not study and again. One time you study, you can really have it in your mind. I wouldn't say memorize that. You can understand it better. So that is the time with it. Next, what is the exact time you have to wake up? It might be somewhere between 4 to 5:30. Let us consider 5:30 to be the sunrise time. So it can be from 4 to 5:30. Self-evaluation for all of you. How many of us wake up from 4 to 5:30? That is one question we have to self-evaluate. Going to the next. Thinking of oneself. So the moment we wake up from the bed, what do we do? Usually, ladies, what should I cook today? Or what is this? Am I late today? These are the first thoughts that run in our mind. But if it's a man, then I have to go to office today. Yesterday, my boss was scolding this, that, everything was that tension or worries that you have. But what you have to actually do is think of oneself, one's health. Did I sleep properly? Was my sleep enough for the next day's work? Am I feeling fresh for the day or am I feeling healthy? Do we all think that? The answer, please answer yourself. Well, I'm not going to ask you this directly. Okay, the next thing. Our health is also depend upon our environmental health. So if a person in my family is sick, my mind will be running there. So I should have a thought that I have to keep my surrounding or the environment also healthy. So that also influences how healthy I am. The next one is the third picture. I am ready to evacuate my bowels. So if you notice, immediately after you wake up, you have to clear your bowels. How many of us do that? We don't. So the first thing, as soon as you wake up, you get off the bed, should be evacuation of bowels. So clearing bowels doesn't mean just going to the restroom, sitting for some time. And there's another concept saying constipation. Usually, due to social stigma, people will not say that they are constipated. What is the actual definition of constipation? It is not just a difficulty to clear the bowels. It is the inability to clear the bowels without an external stimuli. Hot coffee, hot tea, hot water, or an exercise, or walking. These things are external stimuli to clear your bowels. So without these things, if you clear your bowels, then that is the healthy lifestyle. So the first three things which we don't follow is these. Next, only after that we come to brushing. So you have three pictures here. A baby is brushing, a boy is brushing, and a clip art of brushing. What are the three images that are displayed down? What are the three images that are represented down? Hello, are you able to see me? Hello.
Yes, Akka.
Is my presentation visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sorry. Sorry for the interruption. Yes, the last three images I've mentioned is a girl brushing with charcoal. Then the second image is with a toothpick, and the third is salt. Well, I think I don't need to emphasize these three things because you have seen a lot of ads. Unga face la uppu irka, charcoal irka, Colgate Veg Shakti. These are the ads that we see often. So we all forgot this custom. So what are the importance of these? When you chew the toothpick, the juices that secrete through the sticks will clear the germs in the gums, will clear the undigested food in our mouth. But now we have a brush and we brush. That's all. Now Colgate company is giving with charcoal, with salt, with Veg Shakti, with all the Ayurvedic drugs, which are what? Again, the things which we already used. So let's.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt. Excuse me, ma'am. Your audio is not, video is not visible.
Video in the sense presentation or
Presentation
me?
is not visible, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Just a minute. Please let me in again.
Yeah, perfect, ma'am. Perfect.
Yes, yes. Just a minute, I'm just coming. So we were here, the three: charcoal, toothsticks, and salt. So what are the drugs we can use as toothsticks? As this is a plant biology department, I have given you the botanical names. Apart from that, I'll just mention two of the names. One is Vepamuchi, neem stick. In Tamil, there is a proverb, Alum Velum Pallu Kurudi. So, Alamaratoda stick. So, the third image is the stick of the banyan tree. So, these are the plants. These are few plants where you can use it as a toothstick. So, this was a custom which people used. Probably few village people are using right now, but we have not. We have gone advanced. So, the next one is collyrium. What do you say as kajal? Well, usually women wear it, but for people who say only women can wear it, I have added 3 pictures of men also wearing it. So what is the importance of collyrium? As soon as you wake up, you get off excreta in your eyes. You get few seconds to clear your vision. So what are they? They are the dirt that comes out while you sleep. So the collyrium or the kajal that we put cools down our eyes, clears the excreta. Other benefits of collyrium I have represented as this. Hope all of you know what this scene is. Asul Raja MBBS or any language it might be, this scene is there. Kamal teases Kaka Radhakrishnan saying he's old, he cannot see, he cannot differentiate between the colors. But he focuses more and he hits the red coin and the black coin. Yes, so in the last pick, he celebrates winning it. So what are the benefits? You have good color perception, you get good eyes, you get clear vision and thick eyelashes. So this is how you get advantages from the kajal. So what kajal is being advertised or sold like Kalosal and all is chemical. You can prepare a homemade healthy kajal at home. But I will explain that a little later because let me just go with the concepts and later I will just explain that. Okay. So next one is oral and nasal cleansing. You have heard our elders or like even their previous generation saying that they used to do neti or cleansing of the nasal passage. Simply, this is a procedure that is done under supervision, but at home also you can do that. Just few drops of gingery oil you can do. You can just inhale and exhale and it will clear all the passages above your shoulder region. And there's dupana. Dupana is taking the fumes of a medicated. If you see morning as soon as puja is done, you lit that samrani so that a good fumes go all over the house. That is one time. The other one in weddings and all they do homa. The drugs they use and the fumes that come will purify your lungs, purify your nasal cavity and all. Then third one is gandusha, is gargling. If you get a cold, the first thing your mom or your grandparents say, gargle with salt water or oil. Anything can be used. Or guava leaves, decoction can be used. So these are the things that we used. We did. But only when we have a problem. but this must be done every day so that not even a minimal accumulation of waste or excreta is there in our body. The next one is oil massage. We'll say it as oil bath. Oil massage is the next step, we'll say. How many of you here go for a regular oil bath? If I ask my patients, they will say 15 days once or very rarely. So that is not how we have to do it. Or what to say? Usually they say that oil bath only means head bath. It is also the oiling of your body. So you have to oil both your hair and your body. Especially the last three images, if you see, the head, around your ears, and then foot. Why? Head, usually when we talk in Tamil, they say mandakaidu. The body heat goes up to the head. If the heat is always there in the head, then you have hair falls, tension problems, everything. So to calm you down, to make your senses work properly, you have to go for it. Ears also almost the same. To calm down all your senses, because brain is everything that is the control. The next is leg. You might have seen in internets that the leg has points that relate to all parts of the body. So applying oil to your foot is also very, very important. So what? Applying oil and taking a bath. Oil bath is important. Why? Why? Because as you do regularly, you get sturdy look. The look of you will be very nice. A person who always is regular in having oil bath and a person who never goes to oil, you can see the difference. The next, when you service a bike, the glow in the skin, you can see that. Your skin glows, natural glow. You need not go for a gold facial. Your face automatically glows. Your skin glows. You are devoid of skin problems. And then lubrication to all the joints. Lubrication to all the joints is absolutely important because our previous generation had knee related problem or bone related problem around 55 to 60 years. But now a 20-year-old or a 25-year-old person comes with a low back pain, a knee pain, loss of joint space, loss of joint fluid. So the lubrication is absolutely important. Then the longevity. So if you are applying an oil regularly, the way you work, the stamina you work, the time it takes for you to get tired, everything extends. And you can work for a longer time. And even if there are situations where you go into an extreme conditions, your body will adjust. Usually a disease is a point where your body has tried all its means to adjust and recorrect it itself. When it loses its control, then you have to meet a doctor. So the first correction that happens is in our body. So we have to felicitate so that our body is corrected. Next, exercise. Applying oil and going in for an exercise. There are so many images here. You can walk, you can jog, you can run, you can go for aerobics, you can dance, anything, yoga, anything that can bring out sweat in you, you can do. My patients usually they say, I go walking for 2 kilometers from my house to office. That is your routine, not exercise. Routine is different, exercise is different. When you do a thing regularly, it is your routine and your body is used to it. Only when you go beyond the threshold, that is exercise. What are exercise and what importance or what is the benefits that it gives? It gives you toned muscles. You can lose excess fat, unwanted fat. It increases your stamina. It increases your appetite and digestion, and you feel very light. So that is how an oil massage followed by an exercise works. So you've done an oil massage, you've exercised. What next? You go for a bath. Before bath, what do? You have oil, you have sweat. So you are dirty. Normal soap or whatever the solutions we use, shower gel will not be of use. You have to use something rough because it is oily, sticky and all. Why have I mentioned the haldi functions here is that they apply turmeric. Manjal poosi, adukapram na they'll ask us to bath. So that is how you cleanse the pores. So you have sweat, the pores are full of dirt, excreta, everything. So you go for a exfoliation. So you need not go for a parlor for it. Exfoliation and taking a bath. So this is how you have to do. And what is the time that you take bath? You wake up at 4 or 5:30 maximum. 7:30 you have to go for a bath. So that is all is the time you have. What powders can we use for a bath or like the dry powder massage? The top one is Bengal gram, kadla paruppu solluvom, kadla maavu. The second one is turmeric. Third, vetiver. Fourth, green gram. So these are the things women used to grind, have it as a powder and used it back in that days. It is equally effective even today, but we prefer bar soap. You know, there are a lot of organic soaps coming. Might be it is useful, but not as useful as this. So as plant biology people, I think I can give you some work. Please find the botanical names of these things. 4 I have given the previous slides, and the next 4, as far as I know, these are used as a powders that is used for bath. Kulikra podin solluvaanga. So please, kasturi manjal, poolangalangu, rose, avaram poo, these are all used to exfoliate your skin. Okay. So what next? So you had a bath, you are fresh. The general principle that we keep all the time is that if you are hungry, have. So if your stomach is full, don't eat. If you are feeling hungry, then have a meal, then have a feast, no problem. Okay, so that is the general thing which people miss right now. You eat at breakfast at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you go to office, you get a tea and a biscuit. Yes, I need something, you put on. Again, in another 1 hour, something else. So you keep on stuffing things and the digestion rate differs. So the body goes for an improper digestion and it reflects on your energy, nourishment, everything. So apart from food, there are few things which we have to always follow for a good health. You have to be presentable. I feel light, I look good, so I am happy. So be presentable. That one, the right corner scene is from Chandramukhi to emphasize that you have to have a stick and a shoe, stick or an umbrella and a shoe wherever you go out. If you see in that scene, only when Rajinikanth catches the stick and the shoe, Chandramukhi recognizes him. So you have it as a basic principle. Wherever you step out of your house or even in your garden, go with something that you can hold and also shoe. Why is that? Now in present situation, you can use the stick to make people stand away from you. Pandemic, please stay away from me. In those days, you can use it for many purposes. You can shoo off the animals. For elderly people, it's their support. It gives confidence. If you see, Rajinikanth shows that valor of that Raja. So he's presentable. He's showing his, He's showing his courage and all. So for some people, it is that. So we tease the Natama saying that Sombu. So it is like that. Something that brings respect. So yes, so we have done with the food until breakfast. So suppose you go at 8 o'clock to office, immediately going and having something when you reach office. For people who are not hungry, becomes an extra load. Okay, you feel hungry, well and good, you can have a tea, coffee. That's okay. But if you're not feeling hungry, just for a peer pressure, if everybody is drinking, you have to drink, or else they'll think bad. If that is the case, please don't drink because that is going to spoil your health. Now, when do you have your lunch? Whenever you feel hungry, be it at 11 o'clock, 11:30, 12, or anything. Anything that you have during lunch will get digested. because that is supposed to be the peak time when the pitta of the body is at high. Again, after that, maybe a 2 or a 3 hour later, you may have a tea or a coffee, or if you're hungry, some fruits or vegetables. I understand the practical difficulty. Office goers doesn't get fruit or vegetable. Maybe something else, but not the puff samosas that are boiled, that are cooked in oil. Okay, next. So you come back home by 5 o'clock, assuming. Okay, you spend some time at home, freshening up and all. What is the ideal time to have dinner? 7 o'clock or 6:30 to 7 o'clock is an ideal time. Ayurveda states that you have to have your dinner in the first 3 hours of night. So once it starts to darken, it is supposed to be night. So first 3 hours of night. And if you see the image, I have represented to say you have to sleep by 10. Because that is why 10 to 4 will give you a good sound sleep. That is absolutely important. The next question comes, what if I am a night shift person or a night awakening person? 11 to 3 is absolutely important. 11 to 3 is the time when your body will replenish itself. So 11 to 3, you have to be on bed. Maybe this condition is only for people who go for night shifts, and for people maybe one or a day you have some work. So when you're going to sleep by 10 or 10:30, at least 3 hours before you go to lie down, you have to have your dinner. Lying down is different and sleeping is different. So 3 hours before going to lie down. What do you have for dinner? Probably something light. The concept of tiffin came to reduce the consumption of carbohydrate. But what we understood is tiffin is something like idli, dosa and all, where the side dish is chutney, sambar. So the actual purpose was to reduce the carbohydrates and give more fibrous thing. Where is the fiber in chutney? Where is the fiber in sambar? Maximum two vegetables. So that is one thing that we have to come back. Have more vegetables and easily digestible food at night. That will be absolutely healthy for you. There are many studies which say early dinner and early to bed prevent most of the problems in youngsters and also in elderly people. Okay, so this is completely about how daily you have to be. Next, we go into seasonal variation. Why this seasonal variation? Why it is important? If you see, we just came past Adi Masam. Usually, this time in Corona, there were no temple festivals and all. But usually, what is the custom? They go for more of temple functions to reduce the heat. Why? Because this is the time when really the season shifts towards winter. If you've heard your parents or grandparents go do tarpana, or the Sanskrit they say which month, which year and all. There are two terms called Uttarayanam and Dakshinayam. So first I'll just name the months that are there, the seasons that are there. Then I'll talk about Uttarayanam and Dakshinayam. So these are the 6 seasons we see. The seasons mentioned in red are one. The season mentioned in blue are the other one. What is Uttarayanam and what is Dakshinayam? I just give a 2 minutes time so that you just go through it. I will explain it in the later slides. Okay. So there are 2 things called Uttarayanam and Dakshinayam. What is this Uttarayanam and Dakshinayam? Earth revolves around the sun. So at some point of time, it goes close to the sun and sometimes away from the sun. That is why if the earth turning away from sun is night and towards the sun day. That is what we see as day and night. It is also for the winter. As you go near to the sun, it is summer, and it will go away from the sun, it is winter. So Uttara means north. We are in the northern hemisphere, right? In the globe. So earth moving towards the north, or the sun falling towards the north is Uttarayanam. And coming back, retreating phase is Dakshinayana. The sun falls Moreover, the southern hemisphere of the earth. So that is the thing. So geographically, I have compared what is Uttarayanam and Dakshinayanam. A pictorial representation. What is Uttarayanam? You have seen this ad, glucose ad, right? Where the sun literally absorbs all the water content in our body. So Uttarayanam time is where it is extremely dry, hot. The property we say is Agneyam. Agni is more. So what are the three seasons that come under it? Shishira, Vasanta and Grishma. In the following slides, you will know what are what and what should we do. Okay. So what does this period of time do? What is the representation I have given here? It absorbs the water or energy. So it draws the energy from the body. Why this representation? Yes. During the Uttarayanam, or we compare it as summer. Let us assume it as summer. What is the prevailing condition? It is hot. You sweat a lot. You feel hot. The water dries up. Didn't I say the universe and the human are the same? So whatever happens in the universe will happen in between, within us, everywhere. So that is what is happening. Next, Dakshinayana. This is one place where the sun is visible, but you can see the smog also. So it is winter, but you can see the sun also. So what is the opposite of Uttarayanam? It is cold. It is not dry, so it is unctuous. It is Saumya. It gives some kind of a cooling, soothing effect. There are three seasons there. And then the lost energy in the Uttarayanam is gained back. So we say life is a circle. So one part of the year you lose energy and the other part of the year you gain energy. So that is how the nature is. So we have to adapt to this. Going into the season, winter. So winter, we have two, early winter and late winter. For convenience, I have clubbed it both. Okay. So what are they doing? It is cold outside. So they are trying to warm themselves. As I told you, the universe and human are the same. So if it is cold outside, you have to maintain the cold inside, as in not in the skin surface. Skin surface needs warmth. Yes, definitely. But you have to do a cooling inside our body. When to beat the heat, what do? You put on a fire, you sit with it. As I told you, it increases the energy. What is energy? Basically, digestive power. If you observe, in winter time, you keep on eating something and you keep longing for something. But in summer, water and watery foods become heaven. So that is how you understand how our body changes according to the seasons. So what we do? We go in search of warmth. Usually, what do we have during the winter season? Something heavy. So if you see, you have the foods. I have given a few foods given here. It has non-veg soups. It has non-veg. What you say? You say as masa, as in bone marrow of animals. You can use the second image. This image is the bone marrow. The next, milk and milk products. They are a bit heavy to digest. Next, sugarcane juice. They are heavy. Heavy items in kitchen. Urad dal and all. And then ghee. Why ghee is important? I have to talk about ghee separately because ghee is one thing that regulates our body metabolism. If you need heat, it will give heat. If you want to reduce the heat, it will reduce the heat. So ghee is something that acts according to the situation that we need. So these are the general foods that we tend to have heavy foods so that we don't feel hungry soon. Why should we have heavy foods? There's a proverb saying the person who eats one time is yogi, 2 times in a day is bogi, and who has 3 meals a day is rogi. Rogi is supposed to be a diseased person. But how many times do we eat? N number of times. So imagine ourselves. You're having 3 times itself is rogi, and we have a mini meal, post-lunch, pre-lunch, post-dinner, pre-dinner and all. So how many meals do we take a day? So if you go for a heavy meal, then you can stick on to the number of meals you are supposed to have. So that is why it is winter. Next, spring. Why have I put this? It was so cold. Now, spring starts where the sun starts to show its action. So, we start to melt like an ice cream. With the heat, we start to melt like an ice cream. Satisfy this representation. Okay. So, from winter to going into spring, what all you have to have? Preferably less heavy ones, but not as easy digestible one. So what are here? Again, urad dal is coming. Ginger water, ginger boiled water or medicated water is good. Here, this image is to say that it is barbecued non-veg. That has been mentioned in the Samhitas to say that you have to have something that is partially heavy, but not as heavy as a pure non-vegetarian material. The next is mango juice, which is the time that mango starts to give fruits. So seasonal variation starts to give seasonal fruits. So mangoes have come into the picture. So you can start to have mangoes. Then honey. Why honey? There is a seasonal change. To compensate it, you have to have honey. It will regulate the temperature. Then barley, urad dal, and all. Apart from this, regular food is fine. Why a special mention is this? We have to have this for beating up the heat or beating up the coldness that we are put into. We have to adapt to the seasonal changes. This is the time when seasons change. Next, Grishma, as in summer. Full-fledged summer. Extremely hot, extremely tiring and all. So usually what we do, we have a lot of liquid foods, lot of easily digestible food. That is the time when earthen pots come into practice. You store water in an earthen pot. You have watermelons, you have muskmelons, all watery fruits and vegetables start to come into market. Isn't that a very good nature's medicine, or what do you say, nature's presentation? As the summer comes in, it gives the things that are used to beat up the heat, that are used in that period of time. So what are these? Curd items, buttermilk. There's one more special mention here. What is during the April time, you have a function called Ramanavami where you prepare panakam. What is a panakam? It's just jaggery water with little cardamom and lemon. What does it do? It replenishes back the water content you've lost. That every March end or April, almost everybody do it. Why? We've already been told this time you have to do. But if you say that you're going to beat the heat, not many will listen. So what they do, it is a custom. You have to do it in this period of time. So it has been given like this. Because we have sixth sense, so we'll question. Why this? Why not that? Why should I do this? We have a lot of questions. So people put it as, our ancestors put it as, you have to do this. This is a custom. So that we cannot go beyond it. Yes, now, I don't say that you go blindly for it. Now, this is the reason behind it. So you know the reason. Follow it with the reason. Next, going into rainy season. What do you do in a rainy season? What are the foods? Again, you are slightly moving towards cooling down of the earth. Extreme heat is not favorable for us. So, sudden cooling happens. So, what do you have during that time? Again, medicated waters. Why? Rain is not suitable for many people. As soon as the first rain comes, people start to sneeze, get infection. There are a lot of skin diseases that start immediately after the rainy season starts. That is where it is an indication that your summer season regimen has not been proper. Okay, so what do you do there? You can have medicated waters, green teas that will again replenish your digestive metabolisms to come back. The second picture, the picture here is of whey. What is whey? Here it is the water after taking out cheese or paneer. So that is also very, very nutritious. Apart from that, regular foods that we have, rice, with dal, with chapatis and all. And you have again wheat. Wheat goes for chapati. A special mention here is to have something with green gram. So this image is a green gram soup. Use of green gram at this point of time will again adapt you to the next seasonal change. That is the most important thing. Finally, the last, autumn. What is autumn? It is a time when the leaves start to fall and new leaves start to come. So we shed off all our impurities during this time. It is the natural manufacturing of us. So what are the food we have? It is a mixture of whatever we saw above. You can have panakam, you can have rice, you can have wheat, you have ghee, buttermilk, non-veg soups, milk products, everything. So these are the importance of seasonal things which I did. Why this? As I told you, in each season there is one festival or one custom that is being followed. If you see in the month of Kartikai, they do that groundnut balls. Why? That is the time when coolness start to take, and women in the household may get knee pains, joint pains. So once they do the rolling and all, that is one good exercise for them. Yes, that is one thing which I observed and I felt it is true. Same way, Adi Masam, you have lot of temples going in for abhishekas. That what do you say? Manjal Neeraattu Vilan solluvaanga. You have lot of turmeric related functions going on during the summer, beginning of summer, also in Adi Masam. Why? That is because that is the time when the season drifts into the next. So that is one thing our ancestors knew. They couldn't say it directly, so they had a custom to say, this month you have to do these customs, that month you have to do that custom. These two are just examples for it. Okay, I am done boring you with these things. Now, this is one important thing that you have to follow. What? Why there is an overlap? You cannot have an absolute change immediately. Let me just quote one line. Sattendra maradu vanilai. That never happens in real. There is a gradual change. So every 15 days at the end of the month and starting of the month will have the characteristics of both the seasons. So that time we have to be very careful. If you see, it again comes during Deepavali, you have to go for an oil bath. A season changes. So we go for an oil bath with ginger into it. Why? You should not catch cold. Your digestion power should not go down. That is how thing. So that is already in our customs. I am immensely happy to just share this with you. I'll just go fast. Here on, it is just something that we have in our house. The gifts in our pockets. Why? What is this and what have I mentioned? I'm going to just give you the names of extremely helpful drugs that you have it in your kitchen or your garden. So yeah, jeeraka, pepper and ajwain. You have a stomach disturbance, you can hear. I have changed the slide, yeah. You have a stomach disturbance, immediately your mother, your grandmother say, can I give jeeraka and salt? Your digestion will get corrected. Or a digestive problem, they say, put the jeeraka and pepper powder and have it. You will be okay. So these are the things that we already knew. They are already in the kitchen. Usage of jeeraka and pepper in daily cooking is very, very, very beneficial. You will not have a gas problem. You will not have a digestion problem. Then, if at all there is some impurities or toxins in the food, pepper will take care of it. Then ajwain. What is ajwain used for? It prevents the flatulence and belching. The most common problem which I see is either flatulence or people say that I have sore irritation or belching while I work or while I sleep. So in such conditions, ajwain is absolutely useful. What is the other use? If you have a pain, you can just take 2 spoons of ajwain, put it in a kerchief, heat it and have it as a hot fermentation. Very well, easy one. You need not go search for a hot pack. You need not go keep a hot water, dip a towel, do it. Absolutely easy, and it is also very, very beneficial. Next, cinnamon, dhania and clove. Next, coming into few masala items. What are cinnamon, dhania and clove used for? Our house, everyone has garam masala. What are the ingredients? These 3 will definitely be there. what are the uses of it. These three will reduce cholesterol. That is why I have grouped it together. These three will reduce cholesterol. There are a lot of skin problems that can reduce through it. And the most common thing which we say, you have a toothache, keep a clove in it. Bite it, have clove oil. There are too many easy things that we can do which our mothers, grandmothers say. But we don't have time for that. A tablet will do. I have a headache, I put a tablet. I'm fine. That is what we do. But what are we actually doing by having a tablet? We are just connecting the connection between the pain receptors and the problem. So I am not solving the problem. I am just connecting the connection between the pain receptors or whatever the receptors. If it's a pain receptor, or if it's a burning, then burning receptors. And the brain. Your brain will not recognize that there is a problem there. But should we actually do that? No. We have to clear the problem. So in these cases, in these three, it is also used as anti-inflammatory also. Bay leaf, hing, and haridra. Bay leaf, I don't know if people are more familiar with this as a medicinal drug, but it is used in a various disease. Even though it is absolutely a masala thing, it promotes digestion a lot. That is why biryani always has a biryani leaf or a bay leaf. It promotes digestion. You put all sorts of vegetables and heavy items, so that how will you digest? You have to go for a bay leaf. Even though you put a garam masala, you will have a bay leaf in that also. Why? To promote digestion. Hing, or you call as peringayam, it is also something that elevates the belching or flatulence, reduces the stomachache, and it has various purposes also. So that is, we add that to a buttermilk, have it in the afternoon, or when you have a problem in gastritis, first thing your mother or your grandmother will say, konjam perangayam potu mor kudi. That is one very good recipe that will help you lots and lots. Next, coming to haridra. Now, in this pandemic, you will know the importance of manjal or haridra. Everywhere you splash haridra water, then, but to just for an information, haridra has 52 other names. Or manjal, what we say, it has 52 vernacular names. That is, it is called as Rajani, Haridra, many names. Why? Because it has so varied actions. You see, anything that is being cooked in kitchen today will have a haridra in it. Why? Again, if there are toxins in the food, it will get nullified. It will give smell, it will give odor, it will promote the taste, everything is fine. But the medicinal value, it is anti-inflammatory, and if at all there are toxins, it can nullify its effect. Then, Chitrata, I don't know the English names. Sorry, I am very familiar with the Sanskrit names, not English names. So this is whatever you catch a cold or some throat infection, you can see your grandmother or mother going for a kashayam, say with this Chitrata, malagu, whatever, pepper and all. What is that? It immediately stops any kapha adhering to your throat or nose. It cuts down a cold or a sneezing or a running nose, everything. Okay. Ginger and dried ginger. Well, as Tamil people, I don't need to emphasize the need and the usage of ginger and dried ginger in our cooking. Digestive function where you have a ginger used will be absolutely perfect. If you see, you can divide a human life into 3 parts: young age, like middle age, and old age. In middle age, it is said that even if you have a stone, you have to digest. Why? If you have ginger properly throughout your life, then you will have such kind of a digestive power throughout your life. You need not worry, oh, if I have to have this, then I'll have a digestive problem, so I will not have. How many of you here will not prefer to have a few things because it will create some problem? Going for a gobi, oh, I will have gas, no. Something else, no, I will get this problem, so I will not have that. So how many of you have this kind of thing? I hope there are at least 10 to 15% who doesn't want to accept yes, but it is definitely an X there. Yes there. Okay. Then cardamom. Again, Usage of cardamom and clove in sweets is to cut down the excessive maduram in it and its bad effects. So cardamom we use in everything. Any sweet we do, we use. In teas we use. Why? It gives you a good digestive power. It detoxifies the unwanted things in your body. Fennel seeds. Fennel seeds are very good for ulcers. Opium seeds are also very good for ulcers. I have always had a question coming back to me. Opium seeds, can that be used? Yes, definitely that can be used. As we say, when you are in the just prescribed quantity, it will not do nothing. It will not do any harm to your body. Just have a quarter teaspoon of it. Where do you have? Again in masalas only. If you have some digestive problems, you can just fry the opium, the fennel seeds, and have it. That will subside your excessive gastritis and all. And then fenugreek. Fenugreek has a lot of effects. If you see diabetic people, if you soak the fenugreek the previous night and have it in the next morning, it will help to regulate the glucose level. I hope many of you would have seen many other doctors saying the same thing. Yes, I would also like to re-emphasize that it is one thing that is in day-to-day life which can be done to regulate your sugar. But this is not the only solution for regulating your sugar. So let me also put that. Apart from this, these are just few things that can be used as a first aid or the immediate relief ones. But these are not the treatments. If we had used these things earlier in our cooking, in our day-to-day life, then we would have not got the disease or the discomfort that we have it right now. Next, going into other ones which we don't use directly but in any form. Till or the sesame, we use it as an oil. Nallennan solluvom. So a gingerly oil that we use is absolutely a wonder that we have it in our practice. Many external oils are having the base as gingerly oil only. Many medicines that we use are having the base as gingerly oil only. Gingerly oil usage in our day-to-day life will prevent a lot of problems, I would say. Because if I start to explain what are the problems, then time will not be enough. I'm sorry for that. Next, coming to urad dal. Urad dal, as ulutham paruppu. One common customs followed in Tamil Nadu is when a girl attends menarche, the first thing they give is something like urad dal made into a paste. Why? Because it strengthens the bone. A woman who is going into puberty will need more strength, bone strength, also a mental strength to bear with the pain and to accept the change that she has gone into. So that time urad dal made into a paste is given. Apart from that, where urad dal is used, we use it usually to garnish anything that we do. In treatment procedures, urad dal powder is used to make something like a vessel, or if you see search as Ayurveda, you see a lot of procedures where there is a oil retention procedure called vasti, where they build something like a wall and then pour the oil inside. So that time urad dal is useful. Why? Again, it gives bone strength. So for bone strength, urad dal is absolutely necessary. That is why we use it there. Next, coming to coconut. Coconut, we use everything in coconut. The coconut water, the coconut flesh itself, coconut oil, and there is a use as coconut, they'll grind and use as coconut milk. What? Not in coconut. All parts of the coconut tree is used. So coconut milk, very good for skin, very good for gastric problems like ulcer, acidity. Then coconut, tender coconut is absolutely nourishes. One myth that comes with coconut is coconut what people do is they add coconut while they cook. Coconut should not directly go into cooking. You should never cook coconut. So whenever you're adding coconut as a chutney or as a paste, Finish the cooking and then add it at the last and mix. Don't do the cooking of coconut. Coconut has good cholesterol. If you cook it, it becomes bad cholesterol. Same goes for cashew. Good cholesterol becoming bad cholesterol. You should not heat it. Where one thing where heating will reduce the bad cholesterol is ghee. What we see in advertisement, the thick ones are ghee, they say. That is not the ghee. If you see the sesame oil that's here, how clear it is. That is how you have to have a ghee. So when you melt the ghee to this consistency, that is when the bad cholesterol becomes good cholesterol. There are a lot of questions that comes when I state ghee. Ghee is cholesterol. It affects the heart. It affects all the organs in the body. Yes, that is true. But when you don't melt it, when you melt and have, it is good cholesterol. We need good cholesterol. What is cholesterol? Some fat. We need fat in our body. To adjust to the cold temperature, we need fat. We have so many organs in our body which do not collide with each other. Even if it collides, we don't feel it collides. Why? Because there is a fat layer in between the organs, which is important. That is where fat metabolism is important. You have to have fats. No fat, no oil, no ghee foods will result in an adverse thing in a long run. Not today or not tomorrow, in a long run. Okay, so the need of ghee, need of oil is absolutely important. As I told you in the previous thing, the lubrication is one important thing which I will emphasize again and again, because people with age of 25, 30 come with knee problems, joint problems, which is absolutely because of no lubrication, no fat in their diet, no ghee, no oil. Usage of good oil. I'm not here to canvas for any company. Find for yourself which oil is good for you, which oil is ghee for you. I mean, which ghee is good for you. Why? Because I might prefer a different ghee, which is giving energy to me. You might have a different one. Okay. So let me go just very fast, as the time is already up. You have seen these neem, mango, people. I said alamaron. You use it as a stick to brush. Mango leaves. Mango is one thing which you use everything. You use it as mango itself as a fruit. The seeds are also used. The leaves are used. So what are these plants that we see in our garden but fail to use? Any function that is going, any homa or any function where you have to ignite the fire, they cannot be a part where the mango leaves are not there, where the neem leaves are not there, where the people leaves are not there. Why? Because these plant sticks give a wonderful odor, wonderful smell to clear your respiratory things. Next, going into guava, aloe vera, and betel leaf. Guava. Any cold or any throat problem, first suggestion will take the guava leaf, make a decoction, and have it. Yes, that works wonders. Okay. Then aloe vera. Aloe vera, you can have it internally, you can use it for your skin, you can use it for your hair. It has a lot of purpose. It is also known as Griha Kanya. It is like a girl of a house. It gives all the properties, all the goodness if a girl is there in the house. So aloe vera is very, very, very good for health. How to use it and all, I will discuss maybe in some other time, as I'm having a lot of time constraint. Next, betel leaf. If you see in younger times, an younger age, definitely your grandparents would have given a powder mixed in betel leaf when you catch cold or when you're about to catch cold. You have seen people having betel leaves immediately after having food. It helps digestion. It clears unwanted cough. It clears unwanted blockages in our channels. So that is one very good importance we have because of betel leaf. Okay. Betel leaf, it is also used as an vehicle for giving many medicines. As I told you, in younger age, you would have had a betel leaf with a powder for cold, fevers and all. That is one very good vehicle for administration of medicines. And the last two. Tulasi, we see everywhere. I don't need to emphasize the need or the importance of Tulasi. Again, for cold, cough and all is highly useful. It is also used for purification of the air also. It gives a very good immunity. At this point of time where boosting up the immunity is important, having two tulsi leaves in the empty stomach in the morning will definitely be a very big step to boosting your immunity. Then Pipali. It is called as Pipali in Sanskrit. We say it as Pipali in Tamil. This along with dried ginger and pepper is known as Trikadukam. You would have heard many TV channels saying Trikadukam, Trikadukam. Okay. So that is where it improves the digestion. It clears unwanted blocks in the digestive system also. It clears cold. One thing which I would say out of the box, regular usage of this will regulate your fat metabolism also. But please go under a medical supervision or in a periodic way. 15 days once I'll have this, something like that. Okay. So these are few plants, few things that are available in our kitchen. Next, please bear me with just 2 slokas. What is the definition of health? Here in Ayurveda it says samadhatu. When we have dhatus, vata, pitta, kapha. So when they are in samam, equilibrium. Samagnishta, agni, the digestive power, when it is in equilibrium. What is equilibrium? We have, if we have a capacity to digest 3 idlis or 4 idlis, I should not go for having 1 idli or go to an extreme of having 10 idlis. So what is useful or what is equilibrium to us should be maintained. Next, samadhatu. What is dhatu? The elements in our body. The blood that is running is a dhatu. The bones that are in our body is dhatu. Bone marrow is a dhatu. Fat tissues is a dhatu. Muscle tissue is a dhatu. So all the dhatus should be in samanila, equilibrium. What is that equilibrium? When I eat a food, the next day it will transform into an essence. Then it will go to a blood. Then it nourishes the fat metabolism. Then muscle. Then bone marrow. Then ultimately the gonads or the reproductive organ. So this process should never be disturbed. But what we think is we eat today, tomorrow morning we clear the bowels and the digestion is that's all. But that is not the real case. So we have to maintain all this. The next part is malakriya. What is the malakriya? You have to expel the excreta properly. So this is the bodily function. Next, prasanna atma indriya manaha. Prasanna is something like soothing. Atma, your soul. Indriyas, senses. Manaha, mind. So you have to be in a calm state. That is known as swastha. Swastha is a person who is healthy. Swastha ityabhidiyate. A person who has all these properties, who maintains equilibrium in his body level and also his mind level, is considered to be a healthy person. Now please read the definition given by WHO. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So I think I don't need any more explanations to say the current definition of health and the definition of a healthy person given some thousands and thousands of years ago are matching exactly the same. So I don't need to emphasize the need of sticking on to this lifestyle to have a healthy life. The last but not the least, this is a slogan which says the importance that we are the sole person who is responsible for our health. A countryman or a soldier will guard his country or his place. A chariot will guard his chariot. So a wise man should do everything to maintain the equilibrium of our body to remain healthy. So I request you all to take all necessary steps to maintain your health so that you have a peaceful life. And one thing I would say here, the very reason for me taking this topic here is the relevance to the current time. A pandemic where you have to boost your immunity. You have to correct your metabolisms. And most importantly, you have a plenty of time to correct the lifestyle if you want to correct right now. Never but late, but never, at least now you start to change. At least a problem that comes in 60, with the lifestyle now it will come in 40 or 45. We can at least push it to 50 or 55 if we start now to change. So I request you all to just reconsider all the things which I told. Also consider changing these things, bringing this into your lifestyle now. The most asked question is, what is the relevance, or how do we inculcate these in the modern world? There is nothing like modern world or Asian world. Even now, everything I said is applicable, is as efficient it was 100 years or 1,000 years earlier. So please, my kind request to all of you to consider all these, to correct yourself, so that we build a proper, healthy nation for tomorrow's generation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I'll read some questions posted by the participants in the chat box.
Yes, please.
There is one question posted by Alavi Saji. It will be, ma'am, this dal has any kind of side effects to become fat?
Sorry, if dal
I
has?
read it again. Will this dal has any kind of side effects to become fat?
See, having a balanced diet will have all dal, protein, everything. So everywhere, the proportion of food you take is important. In our state, or for mainly South Indians, dal, rice, sambar is the staple food. We cannot go away from the nature. This is our nature. Having rice, having dal is our nature. Once we try to shift away from it, then it is a definite thing that you will become fat. But dal in general is not something that builds up your mass or fat. If your digestion is not good, if the fat metabolism is not good, then it can happen. But the first question comes here is, how good is your digestion and digestive power? So if that is corrected, if that has no problem, you eat even the sand or mud, nothing will happen.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, please.
There is another question posted by Varsha Jimmy. What things helps to maintain our body fresh?
Whatever I told today is to keep your mind, body both fresh. You wake up early in the morning, you have a lot of time. A person who gets up like around 7 or 8 will have maximum 2 hours to get ready and go. A person who gets up at 5 o'clock has more time. So one part is keeping yourself active is one, and other part is keeping yourself peaceful is one part. So if these two are going on together, then you can definitely remain fresh.
Thank you, ma'am. There is a question posted by Vice Principal Ma'am, Student Affairs Shift 1. Why Chekku Ennai is advised? What is refined oil? Is it true that it is a byproduct of petroleum? Is palm oil good for health?
I wouldn't say palm oil is good. Well, Chekku Ennai, why it is advised is, now we go in for a revolution where we discard the important elements we get. Polished rice. What is the use of polished rice? You lose all the nourishments by polishing. Again, refined oil. What do you refine? You lose all the important things that are there in an oil. We have a concept as PUFA, polyunsaturated fatty acid. But are we sure that we get the maximum amount of nutrition from the oil that we get? My opinion is that most of the nourishments that this polishing or refined things are lost during these process. Chekku Ennai is a minimal refining process where the external impurity is released. It is clean, but the nourishment part remains the same. Okay, so Is it true if it's a byproduct of petroleum? There are few oils that are really a byproduct of petroleum. Well, I am not against any company here, so I am not mentioning any names here. But it is true that there are oils that are directly byproduct of petroleum also. Palm oil, I don't prefer to be used. That is my opinion.
Thank you,
We
ma'am.
don't,
The
we
final
don't have
question.
good digestive power to digest it. That is my opinion for that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. There is another final question. What is your
Yes.
point of view? A person is having a wheezing problem. For sure, he will get suffocation due to fumes.
Not necessary. Wheezing, okay. Wheezing problem, we as Ayurvedic people see it in a different way. Fumes, we don't ask you to go directly to the fumes and inhale. What I told while explaining was, in the homes where we do puja, they do. So if these persons who have wheezing do not visit temples or do not do that, there are few drugs that are sensitive for these people. If those drugs are there, it can create suffocation. It can. I don't say it will. It can. So nowadays everything has adulteration. So when medicated fumes are given, the problem of suffocation will not come. And with other things, yes, it can happen. It depends. It depends upon the person, how sensitive they are to these smells. There are very hypersensitive people also. There are people who have wheezing but do not get affected by these also. So it depends upon one individual thing. Not just, we cannot just generalize it to everybody.
Thank you, ma'am. There is a last question posted by our Vice Dean, ma'am, Dr. Savitri, ma'am, Dean Academics.
Yes, please.
What about rice bran oil? Can we use this instead of chili oil or etc. for cooking?
No. I would again go back to the authentic ones. Jindali oil, groundnut oil, coconut oil will be my suggestion everywhere, because that is how our body has been accustomed from at least 1,000 years ago. That is how our great grandfathers were, their great grandfathers were. So at least what we say as gene is also coming into this. The what is it, sensitivity towards food items or any organisms or things will also carry forward in the generation. So what we were accustomed some 100 years ago will definitely be in our body, and a change from it will definitely create some problems, which I don't want to mention it here. Please come privately, I'll talk about it.
Thank you, ma'am. Over to Preeti.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now we have come to the end of the session. It is the supreme art of the teacher to awaken joy in creative expression and knowledge. I now request Dr. E. Gayatri, ma'am, Assistant Professor, Department of Plant Biology, to deliver the vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Preeti. A warm and grateful evening. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose vote of thanks. On behalf of Department of Plant Biology and Plant Biotechnology, I express my sincere thanks to our General Secretary and Correspondent, Sardar Manjit Singh Nair, and to our beloved Principal, Dr. M.G. Raghunathan, who were always behind the resounding success of GNCL. If time is money, then today we have spent millions for us. I'd like to thank our resource person of the day, Dr. K.V. Vasudharani. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. A special thanks to Dr. LRS Kalanidhi, ma'am, Vice Principal, Students Affairs, Shift 1, Jayanti, ma'am, Dean Research, Savitri, ma'am, Dean Academics, for their unflinching support and coordination throughout this webinar. I thank all the deans of various schools who gave their vital time from their busy schedule to grace this webinar. The time and the effort invested by them is mind-blowing. We thank you all for the continuous support and guidance. We are fortunate to thank the dedicated and well-motivated staffs of our college. Our heartfelt thanks to all the participants and students for their active participation. With these warm welcome and words, we move to the end of the webinar. Thank you so much.
Excuse me, can we just have a word, please?
Yeah, please, ma'am.
Yes. In the comment section, Mr. Debajodi has asked if in North India people use mustard oil in daily life. Yes. Is it good for health? As I told you, South Indians are accustomed to one kind of food, and North Indians are accustomed to one kind of food. Our staple food is rice, and their staple food will be wheat. So, for their condition, their climatic conditions, landforms, that is absolutely necessary. For us, being in South India, these three, as I mentioned, gingerly oil, groundnut oil, and coconut oil, are suitable for our landform, our climate, and the surroundings which we have. So, Mr. Debajodi sir has asked that for North Indians, yes, that is one protein which is in their custom, in their regimen for always. Maybe we can use it whenever needed, but not in a daily life because that is not our staple food. That is my opinion here.
Thank you, ma'am. The feedback link is posted in the chat box, so please kindly fill the feedback form. Once you have submitted, you can leave the meeting. Thank you.
And before we conclude, thank you, Dr. Vasudharini, for your beautiful session with utmost confidence and clarity. We were able to recall our grandparents' advice to us. Though you are very young, you have come as an angel to our college by sharing all the good things about life. Each and every word was carefully used by you, and we take it to our heart. Definitely, I think it will change our lifestyle. We'll go live with nature hereafter. I think there should be some change in all of us. Thank you, Dr. Vasudharini, for the information of all of the participants here. Dr. Vasudharini is the daughter of Dr. Geeta, Professor and Head of the Department of Geography, Queen Mary's College. Dr. Geeta and I had been childhood friends. We belong to the same place. And really, we have seen Dr. Vasudharini as a young, beautiful girl growing up. Now she's blossomed to be a wonderful Ayurvedic physician. Really, hats off to you for the knowledge and wisdom you have. And may God bless you to just scale greater heights in your field, because you are one among the pearls who has been identified. Okay, you are the saviors of humanity, right? So may God bless you, dear Dr. Vasudharini. Thank you all very much for giving us this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Want to know more about these topics? Please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and don't forget to subscribe our channel.